Hey folks, what's up? Welcome to Earhawks Minis. Today's video is something that I've been waiting for a very long time. We're going to be painting the skin on the Dread Kaptain model. This is a model made after Mr. Dread Waaagh Gaming himself. And if for some crazy reason you've never seen his channel, the link is down in the description. This model is made by GearGuts Mech Shop, who makes some really great orc models, both in STL form and available in physical models. So this is the first video in painting this model. If you want to see his progress and what happens to him after he's painted, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's start painting him. Alright, I have this guy all primed up to the point I want him to be primed. I didn't do this because I'm going to use that to hold on to. I'll prime that after. Because I'm just going to be doing the skin now. And I'm going to be working in these simple sub-assemblies. Now I wanted to do this guy in what has come to be my favorite skin recipe. But I did want to do it just a little bit different because this is kind of a special model. And these are the colors we're going to be using for this. I'll put those on the screen, but yeah. And we are going to start out with a base coat of Deathworld Forest. So there's nothing special or magical going on with this. This is just simple base coat. I thinned this down with a little bit of flow aid, and we'll be doing a couple coats of this, and then we'll move on to our next step. Okay, our base coat is dried, and the next thing we're going to do is mix up and apply our wash. I already have it mixed up here. What it is 50-50 mix of this Watercolors Violet 5 and this Nocturna Purple Shadow. In addition to that, we're also mixing in this Watercolors Contrast Medium. And I have about 10 parts of that into about 2 parts of paint. So we're going to want it to be fairly thin. You can also use the Citadel Contrast Medium for this. That works pretty well. I've tried like Lamian mediums and other mediums, and those don't seem to work as well. But with this, we're just going to apply it just like we would a shade and just get it all over. Now it's going to look pretty crazy at this point, but not to worry. It's kind of supposed to. Okay, so our purple wash has dried, and as you can see, it looks pretty awful, but that's okay. It's kind of supposed to. So we have our Deathworld Forest here out again, and we're just going to go back in and put this into all the raised areas, avoiding the recesses. Right, and with that dry, I'm going to do the eyes real quick, and we'll come back and carry on with the skin. I'm going to do first corn red, then we'll do a little wash, and come back with Mephiston red and the orange highlights. Okay, so we got the corn red in with minimal damage, so we're going to just do a wash real quick. Just going to drop in a little bit of Druky Violet in the eye sockets. Okay, with these eyes done, we're going on to our next color, which is this yellow-green, and this is from the acrylic color figures line by MIG Ammo. And this color is close enough to Deathwood Forest that we don't really need to mix. And we're just going to do a basic glaze. I think we'll start here. This will be easier for you to see. This is just basic glazing, getting some paint off, dabbing off the extra moisture on towel, and then working from the bottom to the tops of the shapes as where we pick up our brush that's going to leave the most pigment. So we want that obviously to be at our highest point. This is a pretty slow process, but in the end it looks pretty good. So I'm going to go through and glaze all around this, and we'll come back when that's finished. Okay, so that pass of glazing is finished, and we're going to go on to the next one. And what we're going to do is we're going to mix in our next color, which is deep green, this mecha color. And of course you don't need to use these same colors, you can use anything that's close. This is just a recipe that I've kind of come to like. So we're going to mix these two colors and some Glaze Medium, and believe me, I know how you feel about all these layers of glazing. It is kind of tedious. If you're looking for a fast skin recipe, this is not the one. But this is a very cool skin recipe. So this next green here is, I mean, it's not really minty, but it's a little bit more blue than the previous colors. Just a tiny bit. You can kind of see the difference here. It's just a little bit blue, but that's okay. It's going to be cool. I've done this before, don't worry. And we're just going to do our same old, going from the bottom of the shape up to the top. And this arm is going to be sitting like this. So this is actually the top. So I'm running from the bottom up this way. Alright, so I will go around and finish these, and I'll come back when that's done. Alright, so we're getting near the end of this skin glazing, and what we're going to do next is we're going to add in some Kislev flesh. I'm just going to do this kind of over here on the edge, so we can kind of adjust how much we have here. We can kind of check first, see if it's too much. If it is, we can mix some more of that green back in. And this is just more of the same, more glazing. This one we're going to basically concentrate a little bit more and just kind of pick out more of the very highest points. I understand this still looks kind of weird, but we do have something we're going to do at the end with our glaze that's going to really tie this all together. So it's okay if it looks weird still. It will look better. So as you can see, I'm just kind of targeting this into a fairly small area. And just like these other ones, this is going to take a couple passes. So I will get to it and come back when it is done. Alright, so that layer is done. Next thing we're going to do, this is going to be pretty much our final layer. We're going to just put the Kislev flesh kind of right on the very edge here. And we're just going to mix in a tiny bit of that previous green. And we're going to thin it out a little more, some more Glaze Medium. And this is going to be our final highlight. So this one we're reserving just for the very highest, sharpest points, and for things like knuckles, elbows, stuff like this. So for this one we want to be very, very conservative. And we're just hitting these highest points, things that we want to be the brightest are going to get this color. So this is just like the very ridges of these muscles. You really want to define those. The very tops of these shapes. And that is pretty much it. That's all we're going to hit with this color. It's going to be a very, very small amount. So again, I will go and finish this up and come back when this is finished, and we'll do our very final step. Alright, and that, my friends, is the end of the skin glazing. As you can see, it still looks pretty crazy. But the last thing we have to do here is going to tie all this together. It's going to tone down all the craziness. And that is our glaze Weight Watcher green. If you don't have this, you can make it. If you have the Vallejo Game inks, it's 3 parts green, 2 parts yellow, and like 10 to 12 parts water. And all we do with this is we're just going to use this as a filter. We're not going to let it pool up anywhere. We're just covering it nicely with a nice thin layer. So if you see it pooling any place, just pull it up and redeposit it somewhere else. As you can see, that Weight Watcher green really brought everything together. Kind of toned down the purple a little bit and just kind of unified the whole palette used in the skin. If you're following along and you're doing this recipe yourself, with this glaze you can decide how much is enough. Sometimes I go and give it a second layer, sometimes I just leave it as is. Now, one thing that I do want to do to the skin before we finish and give it a varnish is just a little bit of Reikland Flesh Shade, and this is just going to be on the knuckles, and actually something that I forgot to mention previously. Now, as you can see here, there's some spots that are much brighter than the rest of the skin. These are support spots that I missed during cleanup, so I just decided to work with them and make them like moles or skin tags or whatever you want to call them. But what we're going to do here is just super easy. This is just another filter. We're only going to use a tiny bit here, and we're just going to go over the knuckles. I mean, this is going to be barely noticeable, but it's just going to kind of give the impression of having some blood flow under those areas. And of course our little skin tag mole things, we're just going to give those a little dots. So we'll give this a second to dry. Okay, so now the varnish is dry, and hopefully you can tell the difference. It might be hard to see on camera, but this varnish is really nice. It's super matte. So a lot of times when I'm doing skin, I like to block in base colors on the rest of the model to give it some context. So that's what I did here. Just threw some color on in some spots, just to kind of get a better idea of what's going on, see if there's anything I really want to refine or change. And I think I like where this is at. So we're going to continue on here and finish up the face. We need to do the teeth and his lips, and he has a scar that runs down this side of the face over the eye. So we're going to do that scar, and we're also going to cloud up this eye like it's a dead eye. Okay, so for the teeth, we're just going to do a real simple recipe for the teeth. We're going to use this Monoth White Highlight P3, some Skeleton Horde over that, and then go back in and hit the highlights with our original color again. I really like the way this looks, and it's fast, so that's cool. For the lip, we're going to start with a base of Warcolors Pink 3, then we're going to move up to Screamer Pink, then to Pink Horror, and finally Super Spot Highlight with Fulgrim Pink. This is a recipe that I've really liked lately for doing orc lips. Then to cloud up the eye, I'm going to experiment and try to use contrast Apothecary White. And I'm thinking if I thin this out a little bit and just do some thin layers, it'll probably take a few. It should be pretty cool because I still want to see the red through there of the original eye color, but I do want it to look clouded over. I don't want it to look white because that would be stupid. So I'm going to get going on the teeth and the lip and get that pounded out, and then we'll figure out what color we're going to do for the scar after that. Not quite sure yet. If you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome and thank you for being here. Second, I apologize for all the background noise. This is what I have literally right outside my window. There's really not much I can do about it. I do my best to EQ out as much of it as I can when I'm editing, but it is quite noisy. I apologize. So going in and finishing up the lips and the teeth, we have the base color of Screamer Pink down, and we're going in with tiny, tiny little lines of Pink Horror, and then the Fulgrim Pink. And for the highlights on the teeth, we're going back in with the original Monoth White base color to use as a highlight. And then for the scar, decided to go with Warcolors Pink 5 on the inside of the scar. And then the edges, we have Pink Horror with a little bit of the Waywatcher green glaze mixed in. So this model has been really fun to paint so far. And the next video will be painting the rest of him. If you like this kind of video, or you just want to see the rest of Captain Dread's journey, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the bell buttons, as it's a free way to help support this channel. Some other ways you can help the channel are all down in the description below. Everything from a one-time Buy Me a Coffee donation to download purchases of the music in my videos and streams, merch, and Patreon subscriptions, which give you some really cool rewards like a Discord server and even free merch. Or you can even just watch one of these videos over here. So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay sane, and I will see you next time.